The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser-focused on competing to win. Under the Trump administration, we're going to unleash our tech companies, and we're going to dominate the future like never before.
That was President Trump this week calling the rise of the artificial intelligence app DeepSeek a wake-up call for Silicon Valley. Tech stocks tumbled on Monday after the Chinese startup said its most recent AI model can compete with U.S. apps like ChatGPT at a fraction of the cost, fueling concerns that China may have overtaken the U.S. in the artificial intelligence race. Let's bring in Wall Street Journal Business World columnist Holman Jenkins. Holman, good to see you. So do you know, it's a cliche of the week, Sputnik moment, like the Soviet space race. Do you buy that? Is it that important?
I don't think DeepSeek is that important. This race began in November of 22 when OpenAI came out with its ChatGPT, and we've been in a contest with China and with the rest of the world to develop this new technology, artificial intelligence. DeepSeek definitely is a heads up because it showed that there are lots of ways to do this more efficiently, more cheaply, with less computing power. And you know, the Trump statement that we left out was where he said this was good for consumers, that this was going to help speed the take-up of these products and everyday goods and services for people because it's going to be more affordable thanks to some of the innovations that DeepSeek showed. So, you know, there are two sides to this story. It's not all bad by any means.
But do you buy the claims by DeepSeek that they could do this with so little money and without the advanced chips that the U.S. has been trying to ban NVIDIA from selling to Chinese companies?
There's no way to confirm that. You know, it's the basic story is probably correct. They did come up with some innovations that let them do a lot of things a lot more cheaply and efficiently than some American AI companies. But we don't really know whether they spent as little as they said they spent on training this AI. There's already reports and good evidence that they might have snuck some data away from OpenAI, the U.S. leader, to help train their bot. And it's, you know, we don't know what chips they use. They have to pretend they don't have the high-end chips because they're illegal under U.S. law for DeepSeek to have. So if they're using them, they're not telling us.
All right. So the DeepSeek model is so-called open source, which means that others can go in and look at its coding and see how they got to where they did. The OpenAI and other, like Google's DeepMind, U.S. companies, most of them are closed source. Does this suggest that open source is a relative advantage in the AI race?
Well, you know, Meta, the Facebook parent, uses open source too. It believes it's an advantage. You know, these innovations diffuse so quickly. Everybody adopts them and then they innovate on them, and it's very hard to keep secrets. So, you know, there's a lot of evidence that that open source is going to speed some progress here, and that makes a difference to end users and to customers. I don't think either side is going to win this race. I think the real danger for the U.S. or for China is that their government policy will stifle these innovations, and they'll end up the losers because of their own actions. So I don't think we can win this race by locking up our technology. I think we can lose it by doing that.
So does that suggest to you that that the Biden administration's policy on export controls on sophisticated chips is basically not working, and maybe we should just repeal it?
You know, I think that aspect certainly is raising China's costs. Even the guy who started DeepSeek, you know, when he got a chance to meet a government minister, his first complaint was, I can't get enough good chips because of the U.S. policy. So that definitely is raising China's costs. You know, the more they have to spend to get inferior chips, the less they have to spend on other things. So it does serve a useful purpose for the U.S. in the direct confrontation, you know, especially for the military applications as this technology develops. But it's not going to be make or break. It's not what's going to win it for us. They're not going to win it for either side, really, I think. We just don't want to make the big mistakes that stifle innovation and entrepreneurship in this sector, which is, you know, a potential. The Biden administration also had some of that going on for a while, too.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that, because one of the first acts that Trump has taken on artificial intelligence is to repeal the the Biden executive order, which put all kinds of controls on and basically told American AI companies they had to tell the government what they were doing. Do you think that was a wise move for Trump to repeal that EO? And basically he's saying, let 1,000 American flowers bloom.
Yeah, and DeepSeek is proof of that. You know, this was a company started by a hedge fund, a startup. It was not part of China's big industrial policy to pursue artificial intelligence. It came completely out of left field. And if those kinds of regulations that Biden put on just favor the big companies that are already established and tend to undermine the development of new startups, you know, those companies in garages, those people who have new ideas.
Right.
So I think that was a good move to deregulate this sector.
And do you think that we are going to see a lot more innovation and funding of a lot of these startups? A lot of these, I assume some of these entrepreneurs are going to look at DeepSeek and say, you know what? Let's look at their model. Let's see if we can do it more cheaply. And, you know, it'd be a good idea if some more money could come into those companies.
Yeah, no, the DeepSeek is probably going to offer its services to, you know, app developers for 1/20th the cost of OpenAI. I think you can see a lot of investment now in products for end users. It's not just going to be this, you know, multi-billion-dollar pursuit of superintelligence. You're going to start to see good enough AI permeate the economy in products and services that businesses and consumers use, and that's a big difference. And I think that's an important fork in the road. I think you can thank DeepSeek for speeding that up.
All right, Holman Jenkins, thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate it.